And there is a significant part of Ghana's economy that has billions of Ghana cedis on float. We are talking about mobile money space, and we will be showing you the numbers and how mobile money is actually growing and bringing on board financial inclusion. But whilst we are talking about these big numbers and the billions of Ghana cedis currently on float, there is one aspect that is actually, hurting this sector more than any other thing. We are talking about mobile money fraud. And that is why tonight on Beyond the Numbers, Melinda Berko of Fortishield Ghana, she is the Senior Account Director, has joined us for us to break this down. How do we solve this? And as always, Winston Tackie is also on the smart wall. So Winston, this is where we are. Mobile money, a growing space, but actually bedeviled with fraud.
Over the years, the challenge has always been to bridge the gap, inclusivity in Africa. And Ghana, when we began the Momo transaction, where most Ghanaians are quite familiar with the tone when anytime someone says Minsaka or Minsaka, that famous advert that became a household name for most people, and therefore there was the need for people to have easy access to savings, and that One Money brought that challenge. It bridged that gap between the rich and the poor in both the urban areas in terms of saving, in terms of building that literacy that has become a key challenge for not just the bank but unbanked population. Already we know the population keeps increasing by the day, but asking whether to bridge the gap has been a key challenge. But the fraud is something to deal with. Just before I came on show, I received a text message from someone saying he has rather sent me 10,000 Ghana cedis, and then I should check. And I should respond immediately. I'm like, boss, you're double. I'm telling you, so that's what happens. I'm not just a simple victim. A lot of people are victims, and today, I'm sure before we close today, there will be a lot of enlightenment to viewers. In
fact, Winston, if you look at the number on the smart wall, 76.4 million registered Momo accounts. And if you look at those who are currently active, this is as of June 2025, it could be more. We're talking about close about 25 million. It's almost equal to a bit less than our population. Melinda, this is a sector that is growing, but it's actually bedeviled with a lot of fraud. How do we grow in a very safe manner without this aspect actually being entangled, mobile being entangled in this whole fraud and what have you, Mensaka and all of that?
Okay, well, actually, there needs to be security and there needs to be trust, right? So security comes from the providers. When it comes to that, it also means that they need to be checking fraud pretty much 24/7, right? So they need to monitor at all times, not wait until fraud occurs and then decide, oh, let's catch them. No, it needs to be monitored to prevent more fraud. Okay, now for the trust, the people need to understand that we care, like certain things that we do as my team, and then other providers such as bank officials actually care about their future finances. And then that way, trust and security works together, and then it grows. So
you are actually based in the U.S. and you've been tracking and actually safeguarding companies and their data.
Yes.
What do you think is the difference between the U.S. and Ghana? What haven't we been able to find right?
I can't speak on what you guys haven't been able to find right per se, because everyone's doing their own thing. But I will say that in America, most of the data is centralized. In Ghana, you have to go to different places to get different information and so forth. So I think that's one of the biggest issues.
Winston, you heard Melinda there that we shouldn't wait until the fraud happens before we start acting. And we've seen the numbers actually going up, and day in and day out, new systems and new ways and means of actually defrauding people comes up. How do we even, come across it? In fact, if you're looking at the number currently in terms of the registered agents, and I want to look at the difference because that will tell a story. Registered agents currently around 923,000, but if you look at those who are active, 423,000 active. The difference is huge, and many have said that, well, even if you look at the fraud in general, the difference is telling you a story that there are so many people who are there that they are registering not because they want to be part of the clear system, but they want to defraud the system. How do we actually close this gap in terms of what other countries are doing and the kind of gaps that exist in our system that these fraudsters are taking advantage of?
in every society, there are opportunities, and within that opportunity, there are deviants who try to override the system and take advantage of the less educated, less informed, and those who become victim to social or systematic technological misputs. And these are some of the numbers we see here. Over 427,000 registered, and these numbers are huge. If you look at these numbers, it doesn't just talk about the registration, it talks about work, labor, and then employment that digital technology is provided for these people. Just a few months ago, we had cases of about 3 people in Kumasi and Aflao being attacked by robbers because they are into mobile money agent services, and they're providing services to a lot of bank places, how to reach money transfer. Usually, before you can get money from somewhere, you have to have a bank account.
True.
But the gap with mobile money, the swiftness of transaction, you go to
financial
a shop.
inclusion.
Exactly. Yeah. People don't carry cash all like we used to. And that it goes a long way to save the central bank some amount of money going into printing of cash. Very soon we're going to hear about ECD. If these issues that we are dealing with Momo is not addressed, the ECD will become a key issue of contention. And that is a loophole that needs to be dealt with. I like the fact that Melinda said that we need to protect the future revenue. If we have systems that see in the future, consistent investment in the future, I'm sure these gap in Momo fraud cases will be resolved. Right now, when this happens, who to report to is a key issue. You call the telcos, you tell them that someone is trying to take money from my account. You are not even sure whether the account will be blocked, who to report to, how quick that account can be blocked, when can that account be restored. All these issues are key development that needs to be dealt with.
If I'm talking about the central bank and regulation, I know Melinda has been looking at the revised cybersecurity rules of the Bank of Ghana. And for us, that is going to play a significant role. Tell us about this. I mean, how would that help us close this gap that we have and people taking advantage of that system?
Okay. So unfortunately, when it comes to rules, it's just to show what companies stand by, like principles and characters and so forth, right? But it's really action and awareness that's necessary. So as we stand here, it's awareness, right, for
Absolutely.
the people who are watching. But the action needs to be taken when it comes to wrongdoers, okay? So when people do wrong, immediately they need to be punished for their actions.
Well, in fact, she said that, I mean, quick punishment is also very, very key. But when you talk about the central bank,
Okay.
what is the central bank doing currently in terms of revising the cyber rule, which for me is important, right? Because once the central bank gets in, it will mean that that space is being regulated more and more. And Winston, we saw just before we came on air,
yes,
that new digital DEX, that people don't want to call it digital DEX, but that is what the Bank of Ghana is currently doing. And it's because of some of these issues, right? The Bank of Ghana knows that there are digital platforms, including even Momo and fintechs, who are helping us to close the financial inclusion gap. But the more we do it and the more we don't protect the data, people take advantage of this. And like you said, they actually capitalize on those who have lower education. And now it's not even those who are not really educated, but even those who are in offices
absolutely
are being defrauded. So, will this new directive from the Bank of Ghana really help us solve this problem, Winston?
We've seen several directives, and I'm not sure this is the first time the central bank has gone in this direction. One key challenge is compliance, and there should be convergence of enforcement. It appears there are several authorities within this sector. We have the National Communications Authority, we have the Cybersecurity Authority. All these authorities, it appears we have several people, but who and how can these informations be reported? How are they synchronized to ensure those who are even arrested are even prosecuted? Have there been prosecutions happening? Has it been published so that people can know that this is a crime? Because so now many people don't even think Momo fraud is a crime. Unless, how do you even track them down? We have countless time. Look at the number of population. Always about 10% for victim. Old people, young people, market women, and they always look at the other part of the business community. Someone can transact a business, but because of the nature of sending money here and there, they can send a solicit text message saying that certainly you receive an amount of money transferred back, the person may not be conscious, thinking it is part of the normal transaction. People have lost huge amount of investment and money or profit due to this fraudulent attacks, and everyone can fall a victim. You may think you are too smart, but they are also experts in assessing your behavior, your pattern of business, and they can target you. Sometimes, I'm sure Melinda will come to a part where she will mention insider tradings, where telcos, people who work within the system, sometimes have a cartel. So you register a SIM card, they know the kind of information data they have, they sell those data to outsiders, and those outsiders exploit those information to their advantage.
Now, Melinda, I'm actually itching to actually hear that, because if you look at this data, what you see is that in terms of the number of Momo transactions, we have moved to about 735 million Momo transactions. Certainly, these are some of the big numbers attracting the fraudsters. Okay. And Winston spoke about insiders who are helping these fraudsters actually accomplish their aim. I mean, if you look at Ghana, for instance, we've done a number of SIM card re-registration. We've introduced Ghana card and all of that. It doesn't seem like this is working. Would you say that the cartels possibly in the system? I mean, how does it even work? Help us to understand that. I mean, I know that there are ethics and all of that, and that's your job as a cybersecurity expert. How do we, how do people go bypass these systems when they have ethics to actually govern them and there are systems in place to check the actions of, workers? Okay,
well, I'll keep it short and say that there's external and then there's internal, right? The insider threats. The issue could be that there's not enough update when it comes to security training, because there is a section just for insider threats, okay? So I can't break down everything that somebody needs to notice, but someone just asking you, how's your day? The way you answer it can target you, and then if I'm working with you and if I'm concerned, let's say maybe you're down, you're upset, maybe you've heard that you might get fired, I need to report because you might put our information out.
We don't value those data.
Do you understand? You don't
even track them. Yeah, of course.
Okay, so let's just say when I first got here, I got my Ghana number, and literally every single day I'm getting messages left and right. So I know there has to be some type of insider threat going on, but what I'll say is staffs, they need to get training more and more. They need to get updated. And I'm telling you, it'll make a difference. And once again, there needs to be punishment for fraud.
I want you to tell us more about that insider threat, because that's very important. Many say that, but how is it that somebody who doesn't work at any of the telcos is able to know the amount in my account, get my name right and all of that, and they call me and they begin to say all manner of things?
Can I give an example?
Absolutely.
Okay, so in the US, I made a friend. She didn't really know my background or anything, and she ended up telling me she worked at a phone service called AT&T. And what she did was, when she takes your card information and everything, she makes sure to write it on the side. So she'll go to, let's say, McDonald's or some restaurant, put a VPN, so it's a different IP address, and then she orders like shoes and everything. Once she's done, she turns everything off and just goes. So really, you have to understand there are people that are working at places you're supposed to have trust in, and that is the problem. So as staff members, we're also supposed to hold each other accountable, not necessarily, making it too obvious, but there needs to be training, once again, to understand what to look for, and that, I think, could make a difference.
You work at Fortishield, and I know that you started in the US. You've done a lot of recoveries for so many companies and protecting them as well. Do you think that the systems we have in Ghana are actually very feeble, very weak, and that's why some of these threats actually continue to go on and on and on?
I can say that can be the case, but there just needs to be more education. Do you understand?
Absolutely. Certainly more education, very important. But Winston, what you know is that a lot of people will be attracted to this space because currently, if you're talking about the value of Momo transaction as of June 2025, we've hit 323 billion Ghana cedis. And that's why we said that there's actually billions actually moving around and on float. And the question we're asking is, how do we even safeguard this space? I've asked Melinda how this big amount is attracting people, but what does this figure actually remind you? We've seen Momo transaction almost becoming asymptotic in terms of Our GDP has crossed $1 trillion. Momo transaction has also crossed $1 trillion. Do you see any correlation there? And how is that attracting people into that space?
If you go to the GIPC website, it tell you it's a formidable sector for investment. And any country that assesses telecom communication, everybody want to speak, both international, domestically. If you look at how much of trading is happening across Africa, both sending money locally. Now, if you look at the fintechs, they've been able to align their systems to Momo account. So it's easy now to send money from the UK to somebody's Momo account directly. And that has become quite profitable.
That's why Bank of Ghana is going heavy on them, right?
Exactly. And with that being said, it should tell you it's not just a domestic market that is quite profitable, it's a global market now. Once you're connected to the internet, it appears that you are likely a victim of either a good transfer alert or a bad withdrawal alert, which is basically a fraud attack. And there are instances where people receive text messages, click on the link, it will take you to your website. Sometimes we call it phishing. I'm sure Melinda will come to that aspect. Phishing, people will just go, click any link that comes to their phones. And when you click those links, that link has a way of injecting a malware into your system or your phone. And information that are essential, that are not protected, that are open to anyone who is on the internet is likely to be picked up and used against you. So you'll be there, someone will call you and be speaking about the last transaction you made, and everything that they will respond to is a yes, because they are looking at the data and calling you, and they'll convince you, and you even go like, yes, it's true. And they'll say there's a problem they want to deal with, what is your PIN number? And by that, you are comfortable because the person will pretend to be the agent of the telco. And every day you keep hearing, for how long? Every year we keep hearing that the telcos keep warning, although it's something that they have to do, but that system loophole needs to be fixed, basically.
Melinda, are the telcos handicapped?
No, they're not. But what do you mean by that necessarily? I mean, what are you implying?
In fact, we see them saying a lot. I mean, they are protecting, and then they are actually going ahead to do most of the education, but it looks like most of their data is now exposed and people take advantage of them. That's why I'm asking if the telcos are currently handicapped.
Once again, I've been here for some time, and so when I make certain phone calls to get some of my businesses done, I always hear, you know, the warning, make sure you don't share your PIN and everything. But I don't think that's strong enough. I think somehow we need to bring the people together and educate them as well before maybe they purchase or something. But I will say also what's helping, right, which telcos are not doing, the youth, social media, they're reporting right away when something happens. So they're getting to masses of people, you understand? And I think that's what telco they're missing out on. They could do way much more, but
how is social media in itself contributing to this threats and then, I mean, our exposure to this fraud?
Oh, I'll give you an example. There was a female who ordered food from Bolt, and literally before she got her food, the driver asked, but see, here's the thing, the driver asked if she got a phone call from someone because that person needed her PIN in order to move forward. And unfortunately, she gave the information. So I believe she lost over 20K Cedis, and right away when she realized it, she called Momo, and unfortunately she didn't really get any good news, and then she decided to report on social media to warn everybody else, which is very important. We need to look out for each other and make sure that somehow police officials, Bank of Ghana are able to notice certain things that's going on differently, get the patterns, and then hopefully find solutions for us.
We have a cybersecurity authority, right?
Yeah.
We should be fine. Why are we not fine?
Okay, I was going to say something, but I don't think
I
was going to say maybe because they haven't met Sporty Shield Ghana yet, you understand? It's really about just education, and I believe there's not a lot of reports. I've been to different tech events, and that's one of the things that they complain about. When fraud happens, many people wait to the last minute to mention anything. When fraud happens, please, it's very detrimental that you just report it right away, because the IT officials, they can get to it, find a solution quicker, you know? And yeah.
Kofi, one interesting thing that we should prioritize as a country, right now, globally, the war that is happening is now a cyber
Absolutely,
war.
yeah.
And countries are investing more in cyber security. We recall we used to have BlackBerry. They lost hugely to Apple and other Nokia those times in the market. Now they came out of that market and now are into full cybersecurity operations, understanding how significant the market is and the reinvestment that is needed, providing cyber services to most institutions. And I think as a country, the Cybersecurity Authority has a lot of work to do. The new minister has a lot of tasks at his hand. We are hoping it will not just be talk, but more action.
In fact, being talk and more action, day in and day out, we churn out data. And data security is very important. Data protection. I know we have
data protection authority.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a commission authority, but we have it. It's supposed to protect our data. Melinda, you work at FortiShield, and in fact, data protection is very, very important to you guys. I mean, my question again is, I really want to know what we are not doing right and what we can do to actually get out of this, loophole.
Okay, so I can't speak for every company, but 24/7 monitoring is very important. Right now, we are here to be able to be accessible to those, right, who need us locally, okay? If we look back at what happened to President Mahama with Twitter and everything, it took too long for something that should have been monitored. Certain events that happen, when we look, is because it's not monitored.
You're talking about the president's accounts being...
Yes, being hacked. It shouldn't have even happened. They say Ghana is the gateway of tech, right?
Yeah.
We need to take a grip, and we need to take it more serious, and when you monitor data 24/7, that means that there are people, when something happens, when alerts run, we're ready to work. Doesn't matter. If you're asleep, you get up. You have to keep track of what's going on. And maybe that's what's missing here in Ghana.
Winston?
Yeah, security is essential.
Yeah.
People talk about cybersecurity. They think we need police stations to arrest them, but definitely we need systems and structures in institutions internally. And surprisingly, a company can be shut down by just one cyber attack, especially if it's a banking institution. A day you'll be there when your cyber walls or your walls are breached. Every transaction that goes through, you would think you are sending it to your systems, but it's rather being diverted to somebody's account internationally. And that, I believe, we need to, not just individuals, but companies. And also, we need to take two-factor authentication quite serious. You must make sure your WhatsApp is two-factor authenticated. The security is strong, because you'll be there, a friend you know will send you a personal message saying, I need 10,000 immediately for an operation. You go behind the scenes and you realize someone has hijacked his WhatsApp account and is sending you that message just to solicit some fund from you. We all fall victims sometimes, but we pray that with the right approach and the right systems and awareness, we can all fall into the right places.
I mean, my biggest focus now is on the financial sector, right? Because we almost talk every day, we talk about the economy and finance. And I want to know, what are the solutions for the banking sector especially, or the fintechs? What solutions can they get to actually, close some of these loopholes and be protected, and also get us protected? Because I'm very worried when I hear that day in and day out, these fraudsters are bringing out new ways to defraud people and all of that. I get very worried. What are some of the solutions available? Okay,
well, we work with Splunk. That's a security tool. That's one tool that doesn't let people down, because it tracks history as far as, what happened in the past and also currently in real time. Splunk, yes. Data's being lost. We're able to track it and so forth. So that's there, right? But let's just say, as people are watching, I think it's very important to also find solutions for them. Maybe if they're willing to, every 90 days or so, change your password, change your PIN. Nobody has said the PIN needs to be forever. So let's just say, if you're next to your friend and you think maybe they saw it, or you've written it down somewhere and you can't find it, whatever the case is, just make it a ritual, change it over time, and I think you'll be better off than just keeping your passwords the same and so forth. As far as banks go,
how about my mother, who possibly cannot change her PIN? What should she do? What should she look out for? What are some of the signs that she should look out for in terms of this cyber threats and all of that?
The only thing...
They go on TikTok a lot these days.
Okay, they do, but unfortunately, they have to be willing to be open to education. And if they are, and let's say companies see that they can benefit from that too, because sometimes it's about profit, right? Yeah. Then if people show they care to learn, then I believe that that's the step to take, because how else can we force your mother to, not give information that's not necessary?
Winston?
Yeah. I think we've said enough, and I'm sure people watching us from our homes have the information to protect themselves. Make sure you just don't click on every link. You just don't respond to an immediate agent message from anybody. Call and confirm whether indeed that is the person you know who is rather requesting some assistance from you through your mobile money PIN. And when they call you saying you've won a prize, not every prize is a miracle. Sometimes take your time and confirm. So today's edition has been quite insightful. We thank you for watching. My name is Winston, and I did the show with
Kofi, Agyei, and Melinda Berko was our guest from Fortishield, Ghana. And she says that, you need to get protected. Change your password frequently, and companies also must get protected. And this is a special edition that we've done here for you on Beyond the Numbers, basically for education on cybersecurity and cyber fraud. Momo is growing, but we need to keep the space, very secure and active. Thank you very much for being part of the show. This is Joy News, independent,
fearless,
and credible.
Always.